Hey, what's up guys, it's MugenLord here, and today we're going to talk about Unreal. Yes, the Unreal Engine itself. Not Unreal Games, but the engine itself. Why is that? Well, apparently not only that the industry itself needs to promote DEI, now coding language itself is required to have inclusive language as well while coding and programming video games. Just hearing this just doesn't make sense to me. But before we even dive into this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. It's just crazy because this is not the first time that I've heard something like this, where now you have applications and programs itself that's essentially trying to, I guess you say, switch your mind into thinking more inclusively, because I've also encountered this from a particular program as well. And before I even share what that is or whatever, we're going to dive into this article. And I also want to thank Levistro as well for DMing me this article. I really appreciate that. So I feel as though like I owe him a favor and let's cover it. And if you also have some articles that you want me to just take a look at and everything, I'll make sure to cover it as well and give you a shout out. So we want to dive right into this video. So right here we have into Bounty into Comics, which I just found so funny with this entire thing, because I just got finished dealing with something like this on this line as far as programs and inclusive language. So Unreal Engine coding standards require video game studios to use inclusive language in programming and documentation. The documentation part is what I want to talk about once we finish this article. So improving that identity politics have quite literally seeped into the very DNA of video games. Epic Games has taken to encouraging developers who use their popular Unreal Engine to employ inclusive language in their respective titles programming codes. How does that work? How would they know that these programmers, or how do they know that these codes behind the scenes that does all the heavy lifting when we play our video games? How would they know that? And how would they encourage that? And how would they enforce something like that? Especially when it's developers using their engine. Like, do they go around supervising? Like, what does that do? How does it improve the gaming landscape? How does it improve the coding of the game by simply being more inclusive with the language? That makes no sense to me, but let's just move forward. So it says, first added to the engine's official coding standards with the April 2022 release of the tool's 5th version, and recently brought to light courtesy of its April 2024 update. This new inclusive word choice clause sees Epic Games encourage a curious word choice, given that they consider the following of said standards to be mandatory. Users to use respectful, inclusive, and professional language when writing or documenting a given piece of code. So word choice applies when the name, classes, functions, data structures, types, variables, files, and folders, and plugins explain Epic Games. And it applies when you write snippets of user-facing text. Error messages and notification also applies when writing about code, such as in comments and change list descriptions. This is ridiculous. Now what's going on is, like, is supervisors or whoever your superior is, when it's time to submit the codes, now they have to look over the codes and make sure that it has inclusive language. If it doesn't, they have to turn the code back. How does that work? It like does it make more trouble for them more than ever, because now you have to worry about how you include certain language into the code itself? I'm not a programmer. I only took a semester of programming and just found out it wasn't for me. But how much of a pain in the ass would that be? So moving forward, to this end, Epic Games then provide guidance as to what words devs should and should not use in their writing. Do not use metaphors or similes that reinforce stereotypes. Jesus Christ. Examples include contrast black and white, or blacklist and whitelist they begin with. That doesn't make any sense. Like, these languages, that these words that we use is used to distinguish and categorize certain things in groups. Like, why? Like, if I want to make a blacklist, the blacklist lets me know, okay, these are people or these are items that I don't want to use or people should not use. But the fact that it has the word black in it, is that associated with my skin color, me being a person of color? Like, make this make sense. And then the white list is things that are acceptable. So why are we adding racial tones to just words? So what? People are offended that because black is negativity and white is positivity. These words are formed for a reason. It's to categorize and to make things much more organized. And now they don't want you to use contrast black, contrast white, blacklist, whitelist. Like these people are so racially obsessed that they find the stupidest shit even amongst words itself that doesn't have no negative connotation socially to it. It just doesn't make any sense. Do not use words that refer to historical trauma or lived experience of discrimination. Excludes include slave, master, and nuke. Jesus Christ. Turning to gender-related language, Epic Games advises devs to refer to hypothetical people as they, them, and their, even in the singular. Like, these people are changing the whole nature or the whole context of just language in general, just to appease a certain group of people. Like, is this what's really important to gaming right now, which is so, like, it baffles my mind. Budgets is outrageous, inflated. Gaming is going through a crisis right now, especially AAA gaming, and the thing that they're focused on and worried about is inclusive language while coding the game that players themselves won't even fucking see. Like, anyway, anything that is not a person as it and its. For example, a module, plugin, function, client, server, or any other software or hardware component. But they are its. That's what they are. That's exactly what they are. They're not human. They're not humans. They're not sentient. It is an it. Farther, users are asked not to assign a gender to anything that doesn't have one, nor use collective nouns like guys that assume gender, and also take care to avoid colloquial phrases that contain arbitrary genders like a poor man's ex. Regarding slangs, the standard call on devs to remember that your words are being read by a global audience that may not share the same idioms and attitudes, who might not understand the same cultural reference. Thus, aim to avoid slang and colloquialisms, even if you think they are funny or harmless, particularly as these may be hard to understand for people those whose first language is not English and might not translate well. And of course, devs are also warned to not use profanity. Like, look at this world that we live in. It's like I'm in a Twilight Zone now. It's like this is like a cult. I never thought that we would get to this point, and every time that I bring this stuff up on social media, when we get to the point when we talk about pronouns and inclusive language and stuff like that, and when I post this stuff on Twitter about any of this stuff regarding gender, race, ethnicity, especially in our video games, you always have somebody that come in and say, dude, it's not that serious, this, that, and the third, let them have it. But this is why we're here where we are right now. It's because we sat back and we tolerated it and we allowed it to go and we allowed it to continue. And every time you give people like this or an organization like this an inch, they always take a fucking mile. Like, I don't understand how any of this will benefit gaming, especially coding itself. When coding, you don't even see coding at all, unless you're hacking the game or you're doing moddings and stuff like that. If you're a regular consumer, you're not worrying about if inclusive language was used in order to make this character walk on screen or to make certain things happen as you press the buttons on your controller. No one is thinking about this stuff. And why are they putting so much energy in this when the gaming industry is going to shit right now, especially when it comes to AAA? But anyway, examples include abort, execute, or native. They detail. When you use words like these, always be precise and examine the context in which they appear. Finally, the inclusive word choice clause closes out with a list of some terminologies that Epic Games believes should be replaced with better alternatives. Said terminology includes blacklist. Alternative lists include deny lists, block lists. So they give you all these languages. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because this is not even just the coding for coders that has to deal with this, but now you're starting to see it in other programs that you actually use in your daily life. More specifically, myself. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Microsoft Word also has something like this. Because if you guys don't know, I have a comic book company that I'm launching my first comic book series this fall. So stay tuned for a teaser trailer and the Kickstarter for the pre-orders and everything pretty soon. But me as a writer who writes stories for my comics and everything like that, I use right here, which is the Microsoft Word, and it's something quite interesting because now they also have added inclusive languages as well. And then you go to the site, I wanted to show you for a second. Even in LinkedIn, it says, have you set Microsoft Word to check for inclusive language? Language is power. It is often used too often wielded indiscriminately. A poor word choice can perpetuate biases around age, ability, gender, and sexual orientation, religion, and ethnicity. Listen, don't you understand what how these people are talking? Listen to the article that I just read and bound in the comics when Epic Games was giving out their guidelines and everything. And then you look at Brendan Swift in this LinkedIn talking about language and stuff. They all sound the same. This sounds like some type of religious cult. The religious cult of DEI, diversity and inclusiveness. They all sound the same. And these are some common words right here that when you use the inclusive language and everything like that, it would actually give you choices on better things to say. Now, the reason why I brought this up was because I was using Microsoft Word and I was writing my scripts for my comic and everything. And as I'm typing everything up, I noticed on the side they give you like a score. They give you like a score on how many points, you know, for like they check for errors and everything. So I'm at a 98%. So something is off. I'm wondering what the hell is going on or whatever as I'm typing through my script and stuff. Because I want to make sure there's no errors or whatever like that. So as I'm going through it, I noticed that it has the checklist. And it says inclusiveness. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I click on inclusiveness and it took me down to the word that I guess wasn't inclusive. I used the word maniac. And when I clicked on it, it showed me that this was a sensitive word, calling somebody a maniac. And it suggests that I use another word to replace maniac. I'm like, what the fuck? I said, and I ignored it and not used the other word, but this is the word I want to describe this crazy person that's in the book or whatever like that. But they gave me a list and saying that this was not inclusive, the word maniac, or it's insensitive. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Then it was another word, mankind. It also gave me points off on having mankind because it wasn't gender inclusive because it had the word man in it. And this is stuff that I'm talking about. Now, we're going to start seeing this more and more in our applications, in our daily life, that's trying to enforce and ingrain. This is all programming. This is social engineering that they're trying to do with us. And I said it before when it came to BlackRock.
You now make a point of that's an investment criteria for you.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. We added 4 more points in terms of diverse employment this year, and what we are doing internally is if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted. Okay,
we're doing the same thing.
And so it's just you have to force behaviors.
They're trying to force behaviors. It's not even just BlackRock, but it's these corporations. It's people at the top that's trying to control what we say, how we think, and how we feel. And this is dangerous. And this is the reason why I make this type of content, to constantly put this out there for you guys to be aware of what's going on. Because we have a younger generation that's coming up that's growing into this. And to them, they want to see this as a norm, being told and being programmed and being told what to say, how to feel, and how to think. When I've grown up, it was never like that. we were much more free thinkers, and we didn't have to worry about what other us getting canceled and being harassed and being doxxed because I have an opinion that the next person disagree with. And this is getting dangerous, and I understand why still to this day people still see this as a conspiracy theory. You know, just let people, just let them have this, let them go with this. It's not hurting nobody. It's not a big deal. Yes, this is a big deal, because now it's seeping into everything that we do in our everyday life. That now we have programs, we have AI that's even down our backs trying to remind us what to say and how to say it. That's not how we're supposed to live as a society and as human beings. And I understand why people still to this very moment don't see a problem with this. But that pretty much wraps up this video. I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this whole inclusive language now in coding? I can only imagine what programmers now will have to go through, especially if you're old school and never had to worry about this. Now they're changing the coding language in order for for things to be submitted. And how would this make gaming any better? Would it make the game good? That's what gamers, is the end user. That's all they care about. Rather, the game is going to be good, whether it instead of us worrying about whether or not that the programmer themselves added inclusive words in their coding. Like, it makes no sense. But if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe button for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.